Hey, what up? This is your course, of course, a course in what? A course in miracles, a course in miracles, which are what? Which are translating something that was made for proving pain, problem, death, decay, and separation true, or meaningless meaning true, into something that is for the mind or heart to let go of any of those thoughts and see beyond. Through, see underneath, to something that's more in alignment with wholeness, actually, with meaningful meaning. And so the lesson for today is these thoughts do not mean anything. This is the fourth lesson today. This is the fourth day in our 2025 year, Meditations for Shining, Loving Life, and 2025. And these thoughts do not mean anything. They are like the things I see in this room. See, I mentioned this in the first lesson, and I mentioned it a little bit incorrectly, the order of things. I didn't remember it exactly, but that's okay. I forgive myself. I forgive this guy, this character. All characters in all scenes have things like, I don't know, stinky armpits or something like that. Or they say things that are like, oh, that wasn't exactly correct. And what are we to do with that? Forgive the world of the meaning we've given it at the moment. Salvation is now, actually. Just choosing to see beyond it. Choosing to be in the state of the play instead of the story we say. And having the story we say be translated into one which is for what purpose? Giving what to? Clear clarity. What's this for? What am I making this for? How about to see beyond it? Okay, so these thoughts. This is the reason that I mentioned this is that it's interesting. The first lesson is nothing I see in this room or from this window or in this place means anything. And the next one is I've given all the things I see in this room or in this place all the meaning it has for me. If you look at it, it's very interestingly, basically those are the same things. And the first one, though, it feels a little less kind of kind compared to the second one. And then the yesterday's was, I don't understand anything I see here. And I notice in my mind, I wish I could explain why, that there is lots of caveats that get to be deserved with all these things. Like, I don't understand what this is for, unless I know that it is for me to see beyond what I think it's for. And on the level confusion thing, there is like, I know that the Course has this thing where it says, hey, there are thoughts that you think with God, and so, or something like that. The thought, or there's the realm of the speaking of the absolute, and then there's the realm of the speaking of the story of dreams. This is our mythological human self, and within that, there's the game of proving pain, problem, separation, death, decay, true, or there's the teaching and learning to let go of those reasons and those meanings. So the first three were about things that you see outside. Now we're going to things we see inside as thoughts, sort of those seemingly seem inside. And we're going to do the same thing with the thoughts that we see inside as we did with the thoughts that we thought we saw outside. And the Course is trying to unify things, actually, instead of what the Course says that the ego did, is it just took this tiny mad idea and expanded it out into the tiny mad idea being, yeah, but what if there was something other than the truth? The prime directive being, there is nothing other than the truth. Anything other than the truth is not true, actually. And that's just like pristine logic and math and things like this, and reason and use of words and use of logic. But basically all the things divided into seemingly things that are like sleeping dreams and seemingly things that are like waking dreams. Like last night I slept on the bed over there, and I don't recall any dreams at the moment, but there are those, and then there's this one that it does seem is different, and I'm not going to lie, it does seem is different. But also this one too, it seems kind of dreamy sometimes. I can't quite get my arms fully around it, and it's kind of like perplexing. I'm like, what? It's kind of perplexing, like a story, like a dream, like a scene, like an appearance shifting. So anyways, we're going to go to, now we're applying these things, about the don't mean anything, like nothing I see in this room means anything. Now these thoughts do not mean anything. We're going to what we think of as the inside, like I said. These thoughts do not mean anything. They are like the things I see in this room. See? They are like the things I see on this room, or on the street, or from this window, or in this place. And now we're going to speak here. First paragraph. Unlike the preceding ones, or preceding lessons, these exercises do not begin with the idea for the day. In these practice periods, begin with noting the thoughts that are crossing your mind for about a minute. Then apply the idea to them. So, thoughts, cat on my leg. There's a cat on my leg. I'm looking forward to petting it as soon as I'm done with this. It's such a nice cat, man. This is the nicest cat I've ever hung out with. And, but let's see, thoughts. I don't know, Donald Trump, Sylvester Stallone. These thoughts that are crossing my mind do not mean anything. They are like the things that are in this room, or on this street, or from this window, or in this place. And then if you are already aware of unhappy thoughts, perhaps, that have been bothering you or something like that, then use those thoughts as subjects for the idea. Do not, however, select only the thoughts that you think are, quote, bad. You will find, if you train yourself to look at your thoughts, that they represent such a mixture that, in a sense, none of them can be called, quote, good or, quote, bad. This is why they do not mean anything. That is the reason. Paragraph 2. In selecting the subjects for the application of today's idea, the usual specificity is required. Do not be afraid to use, quote, good thoughts as well as, quote, bad. None of them represent your real thoughts, which are being covered up by them. Your real thoughts are the thoughts that you think with God, by the way, or with Creator, or with Source, or with wholeness, or with holiness. And the good ones are but shadows of what lies beyond. And shadows make sight difficult, actually. So whatever the good thoughts are, maybe, oh, I got that job. That is but a shadow of what lies beyond it. I and my Father, the Course does say, I and my Creator. I create myself creatively to be with my Creator in eternity, and all of my creations are with me. That would be like a thought, I think, with God, or something like that. The good ones are but shadows of what lies beyond, and shadows make sight difficult. The, quote, bad ones are blocks to sight and make seeing impossible. You do not want either, actually. You don't want either, actually. You don't want to compromise, actually. You actually like, I know this is true of you, and I know this is true of me. The heart, the mind likes clear clarity, clearly, absolutely, actually. And I believe it is so. If you read the section in the Course in Miracles called Beyond the Body, you would probably see that you have had experiences that have been extremely spiritually holy. I think that section shows the reader, why they would attempt to forget what each of us, I think, have experienced as something like transcendental experiences that are beyond the stories of our character's life. And I know I have, for sure. The Course has had me get to be in experiences frequently when I'm doing these lessons of the kingdom within, the great rays of unstoppable light that have nothing in sight. No thing, not a thing stopping the great rays of my own pure, clear heart and mind, extending forever in eternity without a problem. I know I love it there, actually. Okay, the paragraph 3. This is a major exercise and will be repeated from time to time in somewhat different form. The aim here is to train you in the first steps towards the goal of separating the meaningless from the meaningful. It is the first attempt in the long-range purpose of learning to see the meaningless as outside you and the meaningful within. The holy instant, the kingdom within, these are things I was speaking. And it is also the beginning of training your mind to recognize what is the same and what is different. It is also the beginning to train your mind to recognize what is the same and what is different. I'm not really sure what that means. What is the same? I guess like I was saying, in some ways there's a unification. The first few lessons were always about things I saw outside me, the first 3, and now we're going to things I see as supposedly within me. Things, stuff, bottle cap, toy car. This is a toy car right over there. Milkman. space heater. Those are things, and the ego, which is trying to prove the story true, the story of what? Of all these things, of, victimization, of, like I say, death, decay, pain, separation, true, with so much complication of separation of, but those are different. Yeah, for sure they are. A bottle cap, they're, it's in here, I can't share it with you, not in a way that you would have something in the dream that you believe your body's in to hold on to, compared to if I actually had this little towel or something like that. But it's saying that they are the same. I think that's what it's saying. As I read it, that's what I think it's saying. This is a beginning of training your mind to recognize what is the same and what is different. Paragraph number 4. In using your thoughts for application of the idea for today, identify each thought by the central figure of it, by the central figure or event it contains. In using your thoughts for application of the idea today, identify each thought by the central figure or event it contains. For example, this thought about a bottle cap does not mean anything. It is like the things I see in this room. See, unification doesn't mean anything, not on its own. Actually, I've given the world all the meaning it has for me. This is a meditation the Course in Miracles has me practice to see. Paragraph number 5. You can also use, and I know there may be lots of things. Yeah, but yeah, I know I have it too. It's okay. I do. Maybe you don't, but I do. But I have all these buts for sure, and I can see beyond them to the and caveats, nuance. Everything gets used for a holy purpose, actually, and translated in amazing ways. First, all stories start with something of separation, actually. At least that's what the Course in Miracles proposes to say. And then these things get translated for a holy purpose, actually. The Course in Miracles did this miraculously for me regarding the Jesus story, actually, who, to me, was all up in my face in so many ways that I, as a kid, was very... it was experienced in my human development kid self as actually kind of traumatic and confusing of whether I was good or bad or worth it or not, or whether I wanted that story or not. It was quite a difficult dilemma for my developing mind to hold on to as a sincere kid, actually. Paragraph number 5. But yeah, the Course in Miracles has it be translated actually in such a cool way, what the story of Jesus was for, in such a different way, actually. Very, very different. Like the complete opposite purpose that was seemingly given to me for, and which was in some ways like effectively the purpose of increasing guilt and shame and blame, almost feeling. And then now the Course is opposite in some major ways, which, let's see, how would I say it is that way? How did the Course translate the Jesus story? Well, the narrator of the Course claims as it's speaking to be, it speaks as if it is speaking from the story of the character Jesus. And it also speaks as if it's speaking from the position of Christ, which is not the same as Jesus. There could be something like in the metaphysics of the Course, kind of, there could be something like Joey Christ, kind of, and whoever you are actually Christ too, Jessica Rary Christ, hey, I didn't see that it was you. There you are. What a wonderful sister of mine, Soul Star. Hey. What was I saying? So Jesus, speaks as the narrator of the Course. So too, the narrator of the Course speaks as if it is like your awake self, using the English you believe in, or the translated versions of it in Spanish or whatever, and using all the terms and the stories of Jesus for a purpose of releasing guilt, actually. Seeing what the guilt is, really showing it kind of right in your face, the text does, in major ways, but having it be used for a purpose to see beyond it into the moment of the holy instant in which salvation is now actually, and heaven can only be experienced now, never in the future. Anyways, okay, so paragraph number 5. You can also use the idea of a particular thought that you recognize as harmful. This practice is useful, but is not a substitute for the more random procedure to be followed for the exercise. Do not, however, examine your mind for more than a minute or so. So only a minute or so, examine your minds for thoughts that you're having for the first minute. You are too inexperienced as yet to avoid the tendency to become pointlessly preoccupied. So only take a minute or so, because otherwise you're going to become pointlessly preoccupied and meander and wander, because your mind is not yet trained to do so, or something like that, to do so effectively. Paragraph number 6. Further, since these exercises are the first of their kind, you may find the suspension of judgment in connection with thoughts particularly difficult. Do not repeat these exercises more than 3 or 4 times during the day. We will return to them later. So only do these exercises 3 or 4 times a day. You may find that the suspension of judgment in connection with thoughts is particularly difficult, but the Course in Miracles does say at the beginning of this intro, and you can see me reading the intro a few days ago, day 1 of the Course in Miracles, January 1st, and explaining that the intro says that you don't have to believe these things. It says, in fact, you may and probably will, I think it says may, maybe, I don't know, actively resist it. But just hear it and practice it and try it on. Like, knowing I know I don't know, I'm speaking on behalf of you listening to me and all of us, knowing we know we don't know about so many things. Actually, we can have opinions and stuff like that. Are we able to allow ourselves to try things on? For instance, sometimes like this lesson here, for sure, like, try on this thing of these thoughts do not mean anything. Whichever the thoughts that I find for that first minute of just kind of looking for thoughts, like I said, like, bottle cap, milkman, cat on leg, can't wait to pet it, cloudy sky, rain, movie. These thoughts do not mean anything. They are like the things that are in this room. They don't mean anything on their own. My mind gave it to them, actually. So let's see here. Oh yeah, so entertaining. Allow yourself to try this on, knowing you know you don't know. This is a slightly different direction from where the Course of Miracles is going, but for instance, I always say it's really helpful to know, knowing you know you don't know, allowing yourself to entertain the thought that I know it might be that it seems that there is a story of a continuation called what I call Joey, and he seems to remember being, living in Texas throughout all of high school and junior high and a little bit of elementary, and Russia for a few years. So there's this continuation, and before Texas, Denver, and before that Illinois, and before that Utah, and since then so many places. So there's this thing called continuation, a continual timeline of his. And I believe he may only have one life to live, and I don't know actually, though, like, that it's possible that he, who I consider me, does have some sort of a continuation that was from a past life and will go on to another quote unquote life or phase or particular package. Perhaps not called Joey, probably not in this thing I'm just trying on to entertain in my mind, to say something called continuation does happen, and or also to try on the fact that no, one life to live, bro. Joey's got one of them, like, preciously take advantage and enjoy, and trying these things on, knowing I know I don't know, allows me to extract the power of them and to say, no, I know I don't, I refuse to think that I can only have one life to live, or I refuse to think that there is continuation. That's kind of definitely in some way just denying my own power, actually. And the same thing here, like refusing to say, even though I know that I believe that these thoughts about the cat on my leg have meaning. Man, I love this cat. I know I do. I know I believe that means something to me, the fact that this cat is loving. Also, just try on, just for the practice of this meditation for shining, loving life, that these thoughts don't mean anything. They are like the things that are in this room. And only do this for, like it says, 3 to 4 times maximum today. Okay? Much love, everybody. Good day.